McClure. I'm so excited about our very special guest on this evening. But before we get into our interview, let me remind you that WCEG Network Enterprises, it or Network Entertainment Enterprises. I'm getting the name mixed up. It's still new to me, but we are a 501c3 nonprofit community radio station. So if you are looking for a place to sow your seed, those who are compelled to give in this season, please give us a call at 404 490-8646 or go to www.wcegtalkradio.com. There you will find our contact information as well as all of our shows content. In addition, we are on all types of platforms, WCEG Network. You can look for us on Facebook, uh, X, formerly known as Twitter, Twitch, uh, uh, everywhere. Just Google us, search us, you'll find us. Start Googling our names. Our names will pop up along with our show content, and you'll be able to catch us when we're scheduled. All right, and without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Rian Trotter. He is a city council candidate in Fayetteville, Georgia. Welcome, Mr. Trotter. Welcome to Church Biz.
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Trina, for having me. Thank you, WCEG Media, Enterprise, Entertainment, Talk Radio. I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you, Church Biz, having me on your platform. But this is a tremendous honor to have an opportunity to sit with you and just have a conversation. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. This is always an honor to talk with our political candidates because what you are pursuing to do will impact multiple lives, not just a goal, but those who will be coming up under the auspices of Fayetteville's City Council. Now, can you tell our Church Biz listeners something about yourself, like your educational background, or FAIRBURN, Georgia? I'm sorry, FAIRBURN, Georgia. I thought I was prepared tonight, but obviously. But how did you end up going to run for city council? And is this your first attempt to be in politics?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So I am running for Fairburn City Council. My story is rooted in me going to high school here in Fairburn. And so we were in College Park, Georgia, and I had an opportunity to go to Creekside High School here in Fairburn. And I credit Fairburn for pretty much putting me on the right track and helping me become the person that I am today. I left Creekside High School. I went to Payne College in Augusta, Georgia, small, historically black college university, great institution. And that's where I developed my love for community engagement and involvement and just being one with the community because, in Augusta, Payne College and Augusta are synonymous. A lot of the people from the community come to campus for different events, and as well, we reach out to the community for different things as well. And so, just kind of working alongside of the Boys and Girls Club, doing different voter drives and blood drives and things like that we would do. It just helped build that love for the community. And so when I came back home to Atlanta, I started working in banking and I still had that passion. And so I kind of married the two and put together a financial literacy program because I learned so much about finances and things I wish I knew in college. So I kind of put that together to be able to give back to the community just from the information that I had learned. And so just kind of continuing in that path. And then I started right around the crash of the financial crash 2008 is when I segued into real estate. And so I've helped a lot of families achieve their dream of home ownership. I've helped 48 families over the last 6 years get homes here in Fairburn, Georgia. And so that kind of spiraled me into this space where, I'm heavily involved in the community. I know a lot about the families. I know the things that are important to the families as far as safety, affordability, quality education, and things of that nature. And so it just kind of got to a point where I felt like it was time for me to take it a step further and start being more involved in the inner workings of what's going on within my city of Fairburn. And I just feel like I have a lot to offer, a lot of insight, and more than anything else, I'm a connector of people. I'm a great listener, and so I just want to go and just champion the people of Fairburn to make sure that they're getting all of the things that they need and make sure that their voices are always heard.
Wonderful. I love how you talk about the financial literacy that you weren't previously acquainted with, but now you're willing to shower this information on the citizens there of Fairburn. Now, is that one of your programs you're planning on starting if you get into city council, or would you even have that type of control or that
So I,
power to do that?
So I wouldn't necessarily think to make kind of partner with the city to bring it in. I have curriculum that I could give out, but I also know people that work in a similar space, and so I wouldn't want to intermarry too much of the two. But if anybody were to ask me to come and help, I've partnered with schools before. Churches were always the best. Churches, just going in and speaking with their youth groups, because I want to catch you around 13 to 17 years old before you can start getting credit cards and stuff in your name so that you can avoid the common pitfalls. And I also worked with the Cobb County Police for a period of time as well, because they had a partnership where they would do youth athletics, and then they would invite me in to help, give a little financial literacy information to the kids so that they can, just better equip themselves for things that they need to know. And so, a big part of my platform is reinvestment into the community. And for me, that's in the form of financial literacy and also early childhood literacy. And so I want to just help come alongside of the schools and help them achieve their goals. And so I have plenty of ideas as far as like before and after programs that we could try to implement, try to provide speakers to come out and speak to the schools if we're allowed. But the main thing for me is to just try our best from a council standpoint to support the schools so that we can get quality education for all of our kids.
Awesome. So that would also include voting on particular budgets for the school to that
Yes.
degree.
Yep. So from a council standpoint, we do get to approve budgets. And so yeah, that is a viable part, is just making sure that the resources are there that the school needs. Also, we have a say in other programs that can come out and help the schools. We can't really go into the schools at all, and so we don't have any authority there. But I do think we have the ability to like for example, my daughter's second grade teacher was doing a fundraiser for school supplies, for nothing more than school supplies. And I just feel like there are opportunities there where we can come in and just try to alleviate that from them. Let us take that off your plate. Let us help put that together so that you can focus on the things that you need to focus on, which is the curriculum and making sure that the kids have the things that they need.
Okay. Now, how much of that is impacted by the federal government, if you will, or are those funds just built from the taxpayers in your communities in Fairburn?
So I believe everything is going to be tied to the federal government. There's going to be some type of trickle down effect where the funding is not going to be the same as what it was previously. Now, of course, the majority of our budget does come from the taxpayers, but there are other federal programs that we won't be privy to. And so, especially in a time like this is a time where everybody needs to be kind of locking arms and preparing ourselves to go in and help however we need to help. But of course, hopefully the government reopens soon. But in the meantime, I think everybody's gonna have to face the music, and I think it'll be a little bit tougher.
All right. So that would you also be reaching out to community partners like businesses uh, for donations to help build those educational funds, because that's always an area that's in lack. The employees are grossly underpaid for the expectations of the output that is placed upon them. And then you find that some of these teachers are having to help supplement their own income through extra work or what have you.
Yep.
So
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important for us to partner across the board. We need private sector, public sector. We need our businesses. We need our nonprofits. We need our citizens. But I think for me, is to kind of help be a sounding board and kind of bring people in because the I think the schools aren't going to reach out. I think they're just going to try to handle it in house. And I think it's important if we're listening, if we're engaged, if we know what's happening, then we know what we need to do to pull in more resources to help. But that's what I'm all about is connecting, engaging, and helping out however we can help. And also the teachers, that work for the schools and stuff, but they're also our residents. And so we want to make sure that we're looking out for our residents as well. And so I feel like teachers play a viable part. I want to try to help our seniors because they have fixed incomes and a lot of these changes are impacting them. And so, just from a council standpoint, being that you are supposed to be the voice of the people, I think it's important for me to make sure that my ears are always open and looking for opportunities to partner and help everyone.
awesome. And I love how you said that that's one of your good qualities. Listening, that's an important piece of effective communication. Now, what district will you be representing out in Fairburn?
All right. So the way our Fairburn Council is set up is we are at large. And
Mm.
so we have 6 seats, and then they rotate every 2 years. 3 seats become open for reelection. And so there are 3 seats open now. I'm one of six running for those 3 seats. And then we have a special election going on because one council member is running for mayor. And so we have a special election where two people are running for that seat.
Wow, interesting. And so technically you don't have a lot of opponents, is that correct?
Correct. I mean, six running for three is not a ton. It's not like our neighbor, the city of South Fulton. I know they have a lot going on over there, and we're
Yeah.
paying attention because that's our neighbor. And so, we watch them closely. We have a lot of people, not to segue, but we have a lot of people that have the same zip code as us, that their address is City of Fairburn. However, they're actually City of South Fulton, and so when they go to vote, they're voting for South Fulton. But here in Fairburn, we have about 17,000 residents. And so we're not as large as some of the surrounding cities. Union City is right up against us. We're not far from College Park. And so with 17,000 residents, it's very feasible, I would say, for council people to be engaged with the entire city of Fairburn. We don't have to segment out to just one portion. I think we can I think it's well within our, balance to be able to communicate with everyone.
Okay. Now, what are some of the things you hope to improve out in Fairburn with your role on city council?
One of the things that's at the top of the house for me is the communication. I would love to just get the voice of the people because my one of my main things is people over politics, and I feel like Fairburn has done a fantastic job. I think Fairburn has done good. I just feel like it's time to take Fairburn to the next level. I feel like we need some fresh energy and some fresh ideas, and so when you do that, you need someone that can connect. Someone that can speak across, just across different demographics, different age groups. And I'm a person that's really good at that. I also feel like we want to get away from any divisiveness that prevents our progress from going forward. And so, a big thing for me is I feel like we're divided enough, and I think it's time we start building some bridges. And I feel like that's a quality for me is to find ways to build bridges, to find things that we agree on and work together to get progress. Because at the end of the day, The divisiveness and anything that's holding up production and progress really only hurts the people of Fairburn. And that's not what they're electing us for. They're electing us to help move things forward. And so I feel like that's something that I can instantly improve. Also, like I mentioned earlier, investing into our educational system, that's something that I want to bring to the table as well. And then being that I specialize in community building, I want to make sure that we're growing smartly. I want to make sure that we're bringing the right businesses because Fairburn is landlocked. We're landlocked with South Fulton. Palmetto is on another side of us. Union City is on the side of us. And so we don't have a ton of space. And so when we develop, we have to make sure that we're bringing in the right businesses because we can't afford to, make many missteps. And so I want to make sure that we're bringing in the right businesses that the residents are asking for, and also going out of our way to go to those businesses to recruit and say, hey, Fairburn is a great place to build and be able to say, hey, look, here's what people are saying. These the citizens would love to have you here. We will support you, and just see if we can bring those businesses in. And then also when you look at Fairburn, we're a town that has a lot of charm, a lot of character, a lot of older buildings that have been here. And we want to retain that, but we want to smartly build around that because we are a growing town and we want to make sure that we have opportunities to reinvest into Fairburn instead of taking our dollars elsewhere.
Okay, so I take it that that's some of your new ideas that you want to help build the city up.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
I live in Douglasville, let me put it like that. So one of the things that um I believe that is taken away from some of the beauty of the city is the constant buildup. Everything, more businesses. I like that the businesses are here. It's almost like a mini city away from the metropolitan area.
Hmm.
But then we're losing the beauty of nature. And I wonder if that's one of the older ideas that you're speaking of.
Hmm.
Am
Yeah,
I
it
getting
does
that?
tie in. And I'm familiar with Douglasville. I've sold out in Douglasville. Gumbo's was one of my spots there.
Oh, yeah,
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 I had to stop going. I mean, it was a really good spot to go and grab
yeah,
a meal. And we would and just even in this conversation, that is a type of business that we could use here in Fairburn. I mean, that they have delicious food, it's sit down. But that just kind of came to me as we were talking, and I know they developed the amphitheater down there. But you could see while I was working out there, I could see the growth. I could see the development specifically in that downtown area. Now you have the mall corridor out there that is pretty heavy in traffic, and then it does have a lot of shopping and stuff. And so a lot of your traffic is probably people like us from Fairburn that's having to come out there because we don't have shops in our own town.
gotcha.
And so, yes, ma'am. To answer your question, yes, I feel like, in a way, I feel like Fairburn has grown really fast, and it's overwhelming for a lot of the residents that came to Fairburn to get that rural kind of country feel and have those older buildings and things like that. So we don't want to lose that, but. I don't know that we can completely inhibit the growth of the town. And so what we want to do there is make sure that when builders are coming, you are paying your fair share. You are contributing to make the roads easier to travel because we're bringing in more people. You want to make sure that we're adding sidewalks and we want to do walking trails and things like that. But when we bring a business in, we just want to make sure that you're contributing to the community so that you're just not taking up space. And so that's a big vision for me. And I also want to just add this last little tidbit that when I look at growth, and maybe because of some of the things that we talked about earlier, but when I look at growth, it's not always about numbers to me. It's sometimes it's about engagement. My father is a pastor of a very small church, relatively. He probably has about, I think he's somewhere in the 20, maybe 25 range of members. But in my mind, it's a mega church because every single person is involved. Every single person is engaged. And so that's what I would like to see from Fairburn. I don't want, we got a lot of good people that are just sitting on the bench. But we also haven't had anybody say, "Hey, come get in the game." And I want to go out and get people to engage in the game so that we can grow just from a connectivity and we can be a better, stronger community together. It's not always just about numbers. It's not always about creating more traffic, but it's about just having that community relationship with each other, that engagement with each other to make our city strong and really kind of push us forward into the future.
Okay. Now, and those are wonderful ideas right there. And I like how you talked about people over politics because that's what politics are supposed to be about, the people and
They're supposed to be.
meeting their needs,
Hmm.
somebody representing a group of people and trying to find the win-win for everybody and helping them to understand you might not get everything you want, but you'll get something out of the deal, for the betterment of everyone. And
Yes, ma'am.
so it seems like those folk on Capitol Hill need to be reminded of that. But you've mentioned the word that they're focused on right now, which is the divisiveness that is there. Is always going to be a division. But what are some of the divisive issues in Fairburn?
So, FAIRBURN, it's some of the divisive stuff. Really, if you pan out, is really not even necessary. I think it's more of just not knowing which things to tackle first. And so like the city has a comprehensive plan of things that they've put together from ideas, listening to the citizens, and the citizens have made themselves clear as far as what things they want. Many of the things are things that I've mentioned to you as far as restaurants and shopping and being able to do things within their own community, green space, our roads, our
Parking.
infrastructure, utilities. All of this stuff is stuff that's a part of this comprehensive plan. So we have the framework for a plan to move forward. However, I think what happens is people get divided on what things need to be the priority. And so some people may say, well, we need to prioritize the seniors and we need to do this. And then somebody say, well, our parks and recs need help and we need to put the money here. And I think that's kind of where some of the division comes from. Also, I think sometimes, just completely being transparent, I think sometimes people put their personal battles in ahead of just arguing an issue. And so if we're just going to debate an issue, then we should be okay. But I think we need to remove the personal attacks and things like that just aren't befitting of city council. And so I just want to be more of a bridge builder. I know that I tell people all the time, I'll be married 18 years in February. My wife and I have been locked in for 18 years, and even we disagree. And so there's going to be disagreement, but you don't have to be disagreeable. We can talk about an issue, disagree, hey, take it to a vote. Once we vote on it and we move forward, we move forward. We don't have to just consistently look for opportunities to bump heads. And that's just, I'm not in there yet. This is from a citizen that is engaged in watching the meetings and attending the meetings and just some of the things that I see that I think could be a little bit better. Because at the end of the day, we represent FAIRBURN. And so what we do on that dais, that's going to be important to everyone that's a part of the city.
And I like how you're already attending meetings. All of this is not new to you,
Mm-mm.
but you see how you can be a part of the solution. A lot of people focus on the problem, but they don't want to be a part of the solution. And here you are saying, here, I offer up my life. I'm going to work for you. I just need your support behind me. And I know that the time goes fast, but how can people get in touch with you, and where do they find out your information? Because we only have a few more days left till Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am. We're counting down. We're 5 days away. We're counting down to Tuesday. And I can be found at Trotter, the number 4 fairburn.com. So it's my last name, Trotter, Trotter, the number 4, Fairburn. .com. That's the easiest way to connect with me. I have information there about if you wanted to volunteer to help. At this point, we're doing our robocalls, texts, things of that sort. And then day of voting, we're going to be out there. We're going to be out there waving signs and waving and doing all of those things because we want to try to get as many people as possible to just show up and vote. Of our city of 17,000 people, our election total sometimes around 1,800. And so it's a lot of, voices that have just chosen not to be heard. And with this being a non-presidential election, people don't feel as motivated. But I just want to say this, that the real involvement, the real engagement, the real change is on the local level. And all of the divisive stuff that's happening at the top of the house, it doesn't have to be on the local level. We have a tremendous opportunity in front of us to show the world how to work together, how to be one, and we can take that harmony and move it up and let them see how it's done. And so I'm super excited about this. I can't express enough how happy I am to even be at this part of the journey. This has been fun, knocking on doors, getting to know people, getting to hear from people, and just making that connection. But the last step is also, Tuesday. You got to show up. You got to show up. And I just want to say this one thing too. And I got this from someone that I spoke to on this network, but it's a no. She said no before you go. So please, Trotter4Fairburn.com. Get to know me. I'm easy to find. You can reach out to me. I would love to engage in a conversation. But know before you go, get to know the candidates. That way, when you show up to the voting booth, you don't have to think twice. You know exactly what you want to do.
And that is so critical in today's time. You mentioned something about how people tend to voice their personal preferences over the good of everyone, but we have to know that we got to look deeper than that.
Yeah.
We got to push the envelope a little bit further and find out what your candidates, those you plan to vote for, are about, because at the end, they're making decisions that impact you. So even if you don't vote, that's a vote
That's a
of
vote. Mhm.
silence. And it's amazing to me how those people who don't vote, they have the most to say. Okay.
That's
And
that's
so
a factual statement. Hmm.
and so here you're talking about what, around 10, 11% of your citizens will show up by Tuesday, whether early voting, I think that's almost gone. Tomorrow's the last day, I believe. And then Tuesday is the final date. Why is it, or have you discovered in your life's journey, your volunteerism and all of that? What is it that makes people think that the local level is not as impactful as the presidential level?
Um, I think they just don't know. I think it's just a lack of knowledge because otherwise I can see if people didn't vote, period, right? If say that our numbers are consistently low no matter when it's an election. However, when there's a presidential election, you'll see a spike. And so it's like, okay, so y'all thought that voting for the president was significantly more important. So I think a part of this is just getting the word out and just explaining to people, in a way that they can understand why we need their voice, and encouraging people to come out instead of discouraging them. And so I think it's important for us to educate people on the issues, to get those loud opinions, like you said, and say, oh man, that's a fantastic idea. How about you vote for that?
Okay.
So that we can put it in play. Or, hey, I like that idea. I love what you said there. How about you support me? Come vote for me, and that way I can speak up for you. And so that's what I'm looking to do. I think Fairburn it's just a great place to live. It's a great town. I feel like I think the people here are very genuine. They'll tell you to your face exactly how they feel. And I love that about Fairburn. And so I just want to be a person that can represent them well. But across the board, I encourage everybody just to please vote. Just please get out and vote. My background, my mom had a polling precinct at George High School in Atlanta, Georgia for over 20 years. And so, I kind of learned at an early age the importance of voting, and that's why I vote. But everybody didn't have my same background. And so it's like, you know what? I get it. I get sometimes that people feel discouraged. They feel like, no matter what I say, I can't change anything. And I think it's up to us to push back on that notion and say, and then that narrative and say, hey, you have a responsibility to vote because so many people marched and died and fought for you to have this right. So even if you think you're not gonna make a change, you need to go and vote. Take your butt to the booth.
Exactly. I like that statement. There are myths about voting, is what you're basically saying, that it's a myth to think that your one vote doesn't matter. But we see that the power of the vote for the presidency has made a significant impact on all of the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
your one vote, and I'm gonna leave some of my sidebar conversation that's going on in my head off. Um, but your one vote is powerful, and it just does make a difference. Not even if you don't care about the issues, but so into somebody else's dream and their goal, their desire to make it better for you in your community. So get out there, everybody, get out and vote wherever you are, because that seems to be a fleeting right almost to the citizens of this country nowadays. But
Absolutely.
anywho,
And I just want
yeah,
to add to that. Please also check on your seniors that may not have transportation to get to their local polling precinct. So please check on them to make sure that they have a chance to vote as well. And then also, with our younger generation, we want to make sure that we're grabbing them by the collar and leading by example, because they may not be as motivated. And so yeah, there's a lot there that we, for reasons I don't know exactly why people choose not to vote, but I try to focus on the solutions and say like, hey, what can I do to make a difference? And I feel like driving people to the polling precinct is a way to do that. And then also like recruiting somebody to come with you that's younger and say, hey, I'm going to vote today. You mind coming up here with me? Come ride with me. And we just continue to push that forward.
yeah. Because I'm sure some of those who did not vote understand that there's power in it now that the SNAP benefits might be getting ready to get cut off. I mean, we always, not we always, but a lot of us, the majority of us tend to wait till situations hit our pockets
Hmm. Yeah.
before we become activated into whatever responsibilities, whether that's civic, personal, community wise. We wait till our pockets are like starting to itch us, if you
Hmm.
will. And that's just one example of the power of the vote. But these people have kids. They want the kids to be educated. Some continue to even want to have charter schools, all of that. And that educational fund is supposed to help fund charter schools, if you will, but then your kids might not be qualified or eligible to go to the charter schools. You got to get out and vote if you intend to have an educated generation coming up after you, everybody. So, but yeah, when we read through even the Old Testament, we find that God doesn't like when people sit on the sideline and watch life go by, like they're spectators of what's happening to them, when he's called us to be engaged in the issues that surround us, because even political leaders in the Old Testament have caused their citizens to die on even innumerable numbers.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with you more. We are called to be engaged, and that is a biblical principle. In Jeremiah 7, it talks about seeking the peace and prosperity of the city. And that's why they were in exile. You know, it's like even while you're in exile,
Yeah,
for which he carried you. So he said, I took you here, I put you here. But while you're here, I need for you to seek the peace and prosperity of the city because if it prospers, you will prosper. And so if that is a command from God in exile, then I mean, what are we to expect now? And so I think the beauty and the darkness sometimes in these tough times that we're facing right now, sometimes it can remind us how bad things can be and how tough things can be, and that reignites that motivation. And so at this point, I would struggle to, I don't know why anybody would not be motivated to vote. I think everybody needs to, let their voices be heard. And we got a lot of federal employees who are still at home, praying for all of the
yes,
employees that have been furloughed. And then also, like you said, there's the SNAP benefits that are now currently on the table. I know they're trying to figure out a way to make that work here in Georgia. I'm praying about that
yes.
as well. Because at the end of the day, it's when you speak to the schools, okay, yes, we want them to get a quality education, but it's hard to learn anything when you're hungry.
Hmm.
I can't focus if I'm if I'm hungry. I don't care what you're talking about. And so there's some fundamental things there that we need to be cognizant of. And then also from a community standpoint, knowing what we're about to face, food drives and whatever we need to do to try to help, help people get food on their table because these are our neighbors and we need to step up to support and help each other throughout this tough time.
Awesome. And I'm glad that you're familiar with the scriptures there. That's comforting to know that somebody who is divinely ordered in their steps, they're trying to lead the people towards God or a God resolution in life's situations and circumstances. So even in the New Testament, it tells us to pray for our leaders. And clearly, okay, that's an area that's been neglected, but that's another sidebar.
Yeah, well, I just want to piggyback on something that you mentioned though, but yes, I think it is important to for the people of God to represent God in whatever space you're in. And so my daily job that pays me is real estate, but my position is I need to glorify God through real estate. That's my ministry. And so I see this no different. Wherever I am, I have a responsibility to speak up for the people of God, speak up for God, and not be ashamed of that. And so, yeah, so I just feel like it's a perfect marriage. Sometimes people look at politics and they're like, okay, where do you fit in? And it's like when I look through things, I look at things, what's best for the people of Fairburn, and I also have to make sure that I am representing my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ well.
Awesome. I give you a shout out for that. Um, is is there a salary that comes with you being a part of the city council?
I don't even really know. I don't think it is though. I don't I like seriously, I think I looked like one time, I think I saw like, like maybe $1,000 a month or something like that. But I that part is so far out of my mind because I feel like even running comes from a space of God's been good to us. So my family is good, we're where we need to be, my business is good, it's where it needs to be. And so now out of the excess I can now focus on helping other people and kind of bridging those gaps and kind of helping build my community up. And so I'm not looking for a paycheck. I'm not looking for that. That's not what this is about. Real estate is what, that's what pays me. This is purely the labor of love, to be able to step up and do something for the community that raised me. I just feel like I owe it to Fairburn to bring my talents and my resources back to the community in which I love. And then I also owe it to the future because I'm raising 3 kids here. And so I want to
Yes.
lead by example. I want to show them what real community engagement looks like. And so that's not about a paycheck for me. That's just about this is what it's supposed to be. This is what giving back to your community is supposed to look like.
Right. Setting your generations up for survival, basically, and doing that which God called them to do for their season. So I'm glad your parents modeled it before you, and now you're doing it, and now you're passing the baton on to your little ones. And so, and then you have a vested interest in the community that is not fueled by money. And
Yeah, I
that's
don't think
what I'm
Fairburn
hearing.
has it. My mayor has a day job, so I don't believe it's much money. I don't think it's much money involved. If you working in Fairburn, you love Fairburn. You're not here for the money. I guarantee you that.
Okay, voters, you hear it. You hear that. This is your
I
man.
don't think we got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's about the money, he wouldn't be here. But anyway, his bread and butter is already on his table, is what Rian Trotter is saying as he runs for city council at large in the city of Fairburn. And so everybody, you got to get to the polls. The time is critical nowadays. Even would you happen to know, with the SNAP benefits ending looming over everybody's heads, does the city of Fairburn even have a contingency plan to feed the hungry out in that area?
No, to my knowledge, I don't know that we have one. I am, however, aware that there are a lot of local food drives that have already happened. And again, going back to what I said earlier, we're sharing borders with city of South Fulton. So I saw theirs. I saw it. My son goes to daycare close to the area. I said, "What is this line?" I'm driving down the street like, "What is this line
Wow.
for?" I'm thinking it's a accident or something. I see all this traffic. It was for food. The city was giving food out, and so kudos to them for trying to make a difference. And I would hope that we can do much of the same here in the city of Fairburn. If I'm not aware of what you're already doing, I apologize. But I do know that I saw firsthand the city of South Fulton doing something like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Shout out to the city of South Fulton. And of course, we've had some of their candidates on WCEG Media Enterprises for their interviews over the last few weeks. We're getting close to our closing time. So, what are what are some of your future political goals, or is it just right now getting on city council and then you'll cross that bridge when you get there?
It's funny you say that. I all I see is city council for myself. Because I feel like anything beyond that may require me to have to make a decision. I love real estate. I absolutely do. It's nothing like that journey of meeting someone and finding out what is important to them and what they want, and it's like walking them through it and getting to that point where you finally get to hand them keys. I absolutely love what I do. I don't want to have to give that up, but I believe any step beyond city council would require you to be a little more dialed in. And so I don't have any plans beyond that. Also today I was at a ribbon cutting for the Atlanta Beltline, and I shook hands with Mayor Dickens today, and I was like, a great job on what you're doing. I thought they did a fantastic job pushing for they're pushing for exemptions to help the seniors that are facing those higher tax bills. And so I just shook his hand and said, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing to try to protect those seniors. I respect that a great deal. But I think for me, I just want to focus on being the eyes and ears of our community and just representing on the council. That's what I would love to do. I do not see myself, trying to run that. I still don't feel like a politician. I feel like the city council member is more of is just a community organizer, so to speak, is someone that just can go in and voice the opinions of the community, and that's what I'm seeking to do.
Beautiful. You're more of a public servant
Yes,
than you
ma'am.
are
Yes,
a
ma'am.
politician. And I like that. Because even when today I was trying to learn more about you, and looking at your social media, your posts are very touching, even just to the tributes to your wife, to your mom, to your dad, and that shows that you have a heart for those who are a part of your life. And I'm sure that those 45 families out in the city of Fairburn can also attest to the fact that you really do care and you're trying to keep things moving. It's when you become stagnant or there's no growth that people tend to fall off, and systems of abuse have a chance to come in through back doors and set up.
Yes,
And
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
so,
Absolutely. It is purely out of appreciation for not only the city of Fairburn, but for everyone that has contributed to my life and helped me to become the man that I am today. And I say it all the time. My superpowers. I know my history. I know where I come from. My great grandfather, Lloyd Trotter, was vice president of his NAACP chapter in Cincinnati, and they marched on Washington. And I know all of my lineage, and so with that, I just have a great deal of respect and just again appreciation for everyone that has fought to make this possible. And so I have the opportunity, and I have to seize it. I have to go after it for those people who have sacrificed for me. So yes, you're right. I really am a public servant. That's what I'm after. The political stuff, I think it gets messy, and everybody wants to start picking sides. I don't want to pick a side. I just want to pick the people.
okay, I like that. I like that. And again, that's uh, Trotter for Fairburn
Yes, ma'am.
.com.
Yes, ma'am. TrotterForFairburn.com.
Okay, everybody, go on to check your voting status, all of that, and your polling location, because these things are fluid nowadays. It could be one thing today, and by Tuesday that'll totally change. Then we got daylight savings time this coming weekend. Set your clock back 1 hour, but that could possibly impact those who don't have a phone that automatically uploads the updated time. Bottom line is, find out your polling location, the times that you are to vote, and get yourselves there. It's time out for sitting by the wayside when you have a wonderful candidate before you in the person of Rian Trotter. I believe in you already, and I'm just meeting you tonight. And
Thank
like
you
he
so much, Reverend. Thank you
and
so much,
all
Reverend Trina, and thank you again for having me. And I want to echo your message. We have to get off the bench. We have to vote, and we got two shots at this thing. And so we don't know what the weather is going to look like Tuesday. We don't know what things may happen. So if you can get there tomorrow, go tomorrow. Go tomorrow. Get it out the way. And then do me a favor. Anybody who's on social media, please post the peach. In Georgia, you get that peach sticker. Please post the peach. Remind people, help people see that, hey, we out here voting, and you never know, you might remind somebody that wasn't going to go, and that's one extra vote. So just please, use your social media leverage, any avenue that you have to get the word out, and just let them know, hey, we're voting in Georgia.
okay, thank you for that. And are there any referendums on the ballot that people need to know before they go so that they can develop a plan to
Yeah,
vote?
so the biggest thing is utilities right now. Utilities is
Hmm.
a huge concern. So please pay attention to that. And then outside of that, I would just encourage everybody to go to each person in your city that's running, go to their websites. Everybody has a website now. Go to their website, see what they're about, see what they're going to advocate for, because a lot of us, including myself, we have we have ideas. We have ideas. We have things that we want to fight for, things that we want to advocate for. But the majority of things that are going to come are unforeseen. And so you won't know until that thing hits your desk. And so what you want to do is look at the ideas and those things, but also look at the character and the things that, who that person is and what they represent, and make sure that that's a person that you want, representing you. Because whether you vote or not, somebody's going to get elected, and that person will be representing you on the city council. And so you want to make sure that that person is someone who reflects your values and can speak to the things that are important to you.
All right, all right. And that public service commission, that ballot is extremely important because our rates keep going up and up and up, and we know we got to pay for stuff, but we don't get to make the decisions on how those people in position determine what we need to pay.
Right. Right. Yeah, that is the number one thing I'm hearing as I knock on doors, that affordability, utilities is one of those things. And, infrastructure plays a part. There's a lot of things that play a part, but I think a part of that also is transparency. People getting shocked when the bill comes. I think if nothing else, we need to be able to explain to people how they can access their utilities and know where they are as they go through the month, so they aren't shocked at the end of the month. We've had people that said they had a $500 water bill and they just didn't understand where it came from. I actually had a $500 water bill and I thought I had a leak. I went to YouTube University and I was changing all of the stoppers in the back of my toilets. I'm like, I got a leak somewhere. And I had the city come out and he checked, to see, make sure I didn't have a leak in my yard. And he's like, no, this is your usage. And so when I talked to my neighbor and saw that they were having similar issues, I realized, like, oh, this is bigger than I thought. And so, being that I'm not on a fixed income and I felt that sting, I can only imagine what that feels like for someone that's on a fixed income. And so I believe in being transparent, but I also believe in being proactively transparent and trying to get information out to people ahead of time to say, hey, our rates have gone up. We need to be mindful of this. We need to watch this. Hey, go on the side of your house, check your meter, see where it is. We need to be trying to help people get that information before, they get hit in the pocket. And then also, I would say, with affordability, if utilities are going up, where can I bring you down? So let's take a look at our millage rate. FAIRBURN has done a fantastic job. I always say it. FAIRBURN has done a fantastic job of keeping our millage rate low. I'm extremely grateful. But our values have jumped up significantly. And so even after exemptions and everything else, people have seen a spike in what their taxes is. So can we roll that back? Is there some kind of way we can get you some cost savings so that hit that we're all taking on the chin from utilities, maybe, just maybe, you can save some money somewhere else. And then
Now,
lastly, I would say to that is also if we can get more things within our community where we don't have to commute elsewhere to get the things that we need. For speaking for my city, I think it would make a tremendous difference because we'll be able to put those dollars back. That's less time that you have to be on the road in traffic. That's less, that's a lot more convenience that can help you, save money. And so that's what I'm thinking. I feel like that utilities thing, we're all going to be battling that, across the state. But maybe we can figure out other ways to help cut costs down to kind of offset what is obviously going to be an ongoing issue for us.
yes, especially with all those data centers built using billions of gallons of water and electrical power is that thing about uh corporation riding on the backs of the citizens. So everybody's forced to pay the upcharge for decisions again that they're making so that they can make the money, they get the pocket, whatever, whatever. And then we're back at, how do I balance things? So I like your plan about determining what else can you cut back on in order to level that all the way out. And
Oh, and
so
data centers, when I knock on doors, that does come up as well. And I still think, even though data centers have been around for a while, for a lot of people, we never had them in our communities, and we're still on the front end of learning what the long-term effects of those are. And so I do think that we probably need to revisit what that impact is and how much they need to be contributing back to the community so that it's not them on the backs of the citizens. It needs to be, us partnering together. If you're going to be in the community, we have to figure out a way to coexist. And so there's a lot to be discovered, and I'm not going to sit here and claim I have all the answers. But what I will say is if I have a seat at the table, I will make sure that I'm looking out for the best interests of the people. And I will also, they say when lack of advisors, plans fail, I think, or lack of counsel, you have plans that fail. And so, getting advisement from other cities that have done things well, and tapping into those resources and just trying to come up with the best solution. And so that's my thing. I can't pound that drum enough to say that I'm all about the people, people over politics. I will look at everything through the lens of what's best for the people of Fairburn.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I pray Godspeed to you and for you. I know that you are a man of faith. You're definitely a Bible reader. And I'm one
I
too,
don't know. I
so
might be a Bible beater. I think my mom beat me over the head with the Bible.
well,
But
it
some
worked.
things, that some things stick, and sometimes it's like I don't know. Sometimes I got it from just being in church, and sometimes I got it from my parents, and some things I have read on my own. But it's just certain times it just comes out. That the Bible is clear about our responsibility to be engaged, with our community. It's not a separate entity. It's not, the church over here and everybody else over there. It's like, no, we have to coexist, and we're responsible to represent God no matter where we go. And so that's my goal, is to make sure that the city of Fairburn knows that I'm going to be doing my best to represent them well. And so I humbly ask for your vote. I would appreciate it, and I promise you I won't let you down.
Wonderful, wonderful. And everybody get out and vote. The Bible matter of fact, Jesus said, I wish you were either hot or cold, but because you were neither, because you sitting in on the sidelines just checking everything out, but you're pointing your fingers. He said, I'm going to spew you out. In other words, you're going to come that there's a consequence, all right, for being lukewarm. And so you got to make a decision for Rian or for somebody, but
Somebody.
get out and vote. This is your divine responsibility, your civic duty to get out to the polls. Don't let the people waste the money. Get out there. Support them in their dreams and visions and their expectations to make the city of Fairburn better by getting out and casting your vote. Your vote is your voice. So get off of your do nothings and go do something at the poll and go vote. Know before you go. Trotter for Fairburn.com. Learn about the issues. They're out there. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And I'm sure God will bless you for moving forward in a responsible manner. Thank you, Mr. Trotter, for being a part of the show on tonight. And may again the Lord bless you and keep you and your family and your father's church. And like I always like to tell our Church Biz listeners, take care. Take care of you, your mind, your body, and your spirit. God bless.